Bonjour, French 2 students. Here is a little going over of the French 1 review, focusing on Units 1 and 2. There is a key posted in classroom for you. So these are sort of the things that I think are important you remember. So we'll do the alphabet. S'il vous plaît, répétez A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So probably want to be able to say the alphabet in case a French 1 student asks you for some help. Again, on the key, I have page numbers listed for you. When you get down to the indefinite articles, those mean a or an, and remember the masculine singular one is and the feminine singular one is une. The definite articles mean the masculine singular is le, and the feminine is la. So remember that an un or a le tell us that the noun is masculine, and an une or a la tell us that the noun is feminine. And remember, that is part of learning the vocabulary, is learning the un or the une or the le or the la along with it. Okay? And remember, again, un and une mean a or an. And le and la mean the. And le and la become L apostrophe before a vowel or a silent H. The family vocabulary was on page 35. The possessive adjectives, again, we can kind of add to this a little bit because we have mon, that is masculine, and tone. And the feminines are ma and ta. Mon and ma mean my, and tone and ta mean your. And then talking about age was on page 37. So that's kind of through Unit 1. There were numbers, so let's take a look and review the numbers. Again, remember, for 1 through 19, 1 through 19 are kind of unique. And then for the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, the pattern is the number, the special tens number, if you will, plus 1 through 9. Remember the 70s and the 90s, okay? It's the tens number and 11 through 19. Okay. So there's some notes down there at the bottom. The word a occurs in the numbers 21, 31, 41, 51, 61, and 71. Number 2, becomes une before a feminine noun. Number 3, 80 becomes 80 without the S before another number. Number 4, sont becomes sont without the S before another number. And mille, you never add an S. So, I will go through saying these, and s'il vous plaît, répétez. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. So that takes us to 100. Again, you see kind of the other numbers there for you as well. So that's kind of Unit 1 in a nutshell. In Unit 2, the food vocabulary was on page 45. Those were words like un salade, un hot dog, un hamburger, un croissant, words of that nature. The beverage vocabulary was on page 49 in your textbook. But usually people have forgotten how to tell time, which is on pages 56 to 58 in your textbook. So again, here we see the question for what time is it. S'il vous plaît, répétez quelle heure est-il? Quelle heure est-il? Remember, all times in a complete sentence start with the il est. So again, this is 1 o'clock. Here's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and so forth. Okay, here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, 11. And then for 12 o'clock, this is really noon, and this is midnight. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez, il est 1 heure, il est 2 heures, il est 3 heures, il est 4 heures, il est 5 heures, il est 6 heures, il est 7 heures, il est 8 heures, il est 9 heures, il est 10 heures, il est 11 heures, il est midi, il est minuit. And although o'clock can be left out in English, the expression heure must be used in French when giving the time. So you can't leave out the word heure, even though you can leave out o'clock in English. To distinguish between AM and PM, the French use the following expressions. So, s'il vous plaît, répétez du matin, de l'après-midi, du soir. So again, we have morning, afternoon, and evening, so you can distinguish, do you mean 10 o'clock in the morning? Il est 10 heures du matin, or 10 o'clock at night? Il est 10 heures du soir. How to ask at what time something is scheduled. S'il vous plaît, répétez à quelle heure est? À quelle heure est? And then you see kind of the answer. Le concert est à 8 heures. J'ai un rendez-vous à is how you talk about having an appointment or a date. And then this specific amount of minutes. So again, we see the examples here: 10:10, 6:25, 7:35, and 2:52. It's just the number, hours, and then the number of minutes. Okay, so for this, it is your il a, the number of and then the number for minutes. So this is the minutes, this is the hours. So we have il est 10h10, il est 6h25, il est 7h35, il est 2h52. How to indicate the half hour and quarter hour. So this is like quarter hour, right? Quarter after or 15 minutes after, half after or 30 minutes after, and quarter to or 3/4 of an hour. So those are like those times. Si vous plaît, répétez un quart, et demi, moins le quart. The one you have to remember about this is remember that this clock here says 2:45. But notice I have to use 3 here because I have to say it's quarter to the next hour, because literally in French you're saying minus the quarter. So you have to say it's 3 o'clock minus a quarter. If you say it's 2 o'clock minus a quarter, it's actually 1:45. So remember there were kind of 2 ways to say certain times. When it's quarter after, you can say il est number and then you can use 15, Quinze, or you can use that quarter after. So il est the number of a quart. Either way is fine, okay? For half past, again, you have 2 choices. You could do il est the number of 30, so the number for 30. Or you can do il est number et demi, and a half. Now, quarter to, again, you have 2 choices, right? You could do il est the number and then the minutes, 45. If you're going to do the quarter to, you have to say it's quarter to the next hour. So the kind of way we talked about it in our notes is il est number plus 1 moins le quart. So again, that idea here is if it's 2:45, I have to say il est 3h moins le quart, because I have to say it's 3 o'clock minus a quarter. So again, that's kind of a little review on time, which is often an area where people have forgotten. How to talk about the days of the week, which is on page 61. S'il vous plaît, répétez quel jour est-ce? And that question really is asking like what day of the week it is, as opposed to like the date. So this question is really asking for the day of the week, not the date, like that it's the 15th of August or something. The days of the week, s'il vous plaît, répétez lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche, aujourd'hui, demain. Remember, one of the things to be careful about on a test or quiz is a French calendar is going to start with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. So be careful if you have to read a calendar to kind of look at it carefully, because a traditional French calendar would actually have the first column be Monday, unlike our calendar here in the United States where the first day is typically Sunday. So that's a little review on the days of the week. Next we have the months of the year. And again, here's that difference, right? This question is asking for the actual date. S'il vous plaît, répétez quelle est la date? Quelle est la date? Okay. And notice again how our answers start. C'est le, number, and month. And then birthdays. S'il vous plaît, répétez c'est quand ton anniversaire? And then the answer always starts mon anniversaire est le. Again, we have our number and then we have our month. So the months of the year, because you can't talk about your birthday if you can't say the month of your birth date. S'il vous plaît, répétez janvier, février, mars, avril, mai, juin, juillet, août, septembre, octobre, novembre, décembre. And then how to express the date. Again, remember the French date is always le, the number, and then the month. Exception for the first, we don't use the number for one, we use le premier. We don't do any L apostrophes. And again, pay attention on tests and quizzes, because if your book is abbreviating dates, this to us makes like it might be February 8th, but it's actually the 2nd of August. So they still put the number followed by the month. So this is not January 1st, this is the 1st of November. So do be careful when you're looking at dates in French that you don't make mistakes. And then weather expressions, which are on page 65, is another thing that oftentimes people have forgotten. S'il vous plaît, répétez quel temps fait-il? Il fait beau. Il fait bon. Il fait chaud. Il fait frais. Il fait froid. Il fait mauvais. Il pleut. Il neige. And then we have the seasons. S'il vous plaît, répétez le printemps, l'été, l'automne, l'hiver. And to say in the season, s'il vous plaît, répétez au printemps, en été, en automne, en hiver. So that kind of brings you up to speed on units 1 and 2. I really would encourage you to kind of leaf through your book as you complete that review. Au revoir. À demain.